I always think it's fun to take a look at a set and see which cards worked really well and make exciting decks with them. And then, of course, it's fun to decide which cards they really did dirty, cards that they did not give enough love to, cards that they put in this set, and you just think, why? You could have done so much more with this Pokemon, and for whatever reason you didn't. Well, here in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the cards they did the worst here in Crimson Blaze. Come along with me, Jake, your resident content cowboy. Yeehaw. First, let's talk about a grass card, Burmy and then Mothim. Burmy is the basic 60 HP, 2 colorless energy to do 30 damage. Fine. And then Mothim, 100 HP for a stage 1 with 3 energy, colorless, I guess, to do 70 damage. What exactly do you want me to do with these cards? I have no idea. They're just so disappointing. I mean, so many cards can do like 8,000 damage for a single energy, and this is a stage 1 that requires 3 energy to do 70. It's just, I don't know. It's just pack filler. It's, without question, it's filling out the pack. Next, we need to talk about the new Emolga. 70 HP for a basic is actually decent, and 1 energy retreat cost, not too bad. It being a lightning card, this isn't the worst given that you can use an elemental switch, but still, 2 energy for 50 damage is... It's not the worst, right? But it doesn't do anything else. You compare this to something like Zeraora that generates its own energy on its turn, or a Choreo that will do 2 energy, 50 damage, but also is Choreo, so EXs can't hit it. It's just a not good card, and yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Next is the new Xerneas. Now this card is interesting. I feel like there's a lot going on with this card, and I'm actually excited to be wrong about this, so I hope I kind of am, but right now I'm just scratching my head as to when exactly you would find good use for this card. I think it has one glaring issue, but let's talk about all of its positives really quick. It's a psychic type with 120 HP as a basic. That's really considerable. And if you were to get 3 energy on this, 2 of them being psychic, you could do 120 damage with Geoburst, right? If we looked at Mothim earlier, it's only doing 70 and stuff like that, and it's a stage 1. So this has a lot going for it. It's also weak to metal. You don't see a ton of metal in the meta currently. It's not a very metal meta. Boy, I couldn't even get through that sentence. It was a tongue twister already. And with all of that, you would think, okay, maybe you can do something with this. But of course, every bit of damage that this Pokemon takes means it does less damage with its attacks. A few things where you could see this card being useful. If you are playing a Garbodor deck, this could get powered very easily, right? And you could swing for a lot of damage. If you're playing a Lunala deck, you can move energy up to this Pokemon, and it could be an okay wall. I do think its biggest issue by far is the 2 retreat cost. If this card had a 1 retreat cost, it actually might be somewhat legit. But if you start with it, it's going to take forever to power it up. Every little chip by your opponents means it does less damage. And if you just have one of them in your deck as kind of like a sweeper card, 120 HP, unfortunately, later in the game is one-shot by a ton of Pokemon. This is one, though, I hope to make a cool deck with, and I hope I'm just kind of wrong about, but it feels pretty meh. Next, we take a look at the new Hariyama, 120 HP. 90 damage for 3 energy as a stage 1. I mean, it's not the absolute worst thing ever, but when you have taken 3 turns of energy to power this thing up and it's only swinging for 90, there just aren't a lot of opportunities where this card is going to be useful. Right? It's just not enough damage for how long it takes to power. And Fighting has had this since the release of the game. Fighting loves to have a card that takes 8,000 energy and is a stage 2 or something with 40 retreat cost. And once you power it up, it does 110 damage or something like that. It's just it's not terrible, but it's kind of just pack filler unplayable. The new Muck card is in a similar position. 70 damage for 3 energy is abysmal. It's so low. It's 3 dark energy. It does poison, but you'll notice a theme here with this Mothim, Hariyama, Muck. There's just like a group of cards. They're all stage 1s, and they all roughly do nothing for way too much energy, and Muck falls right into this as well. An unfortunate one, but I mean, I guess they don't really... We've had other Mucks, and they've been other Mucks. Next, as if we weren't beating a dead Mudsdale enough, we have Garbodor. The new one is 130 HP, 70 damage for 3 energy with Acid Spray. You flip a coin, and if heads, it discards an energy. I do love attacks like this, but in general, again, a stage 1, now you've got to have 4 cards in your deck, essentially 2 basics and 2 stage 1s. Plus, you have to put 3 energy on this card so that it can maybe discard a single energy from your opponent. Or you could just play a different deck and put 1 Team Rocket Grunt in there. There you go. You've saved yourself 3 energy cost plus 4 cards. Next, I want to talk about Genesect. I actually think this is kind of a cool card. There just isn't a lot that you can do with it with metal decks right now. I could see some interesting stuff with this, Probopass, Mega Steelix, and stuff like that. Its attack Metal Blast does 10 damage plus 20 more for each metal energy attached to it, right? So this could actually do okay damage as a basic. This feels like a very similar card to the Xerneas that we were looking at earlier. It just has kind of a different flavor to it. Also a 2 retreat cost, has less HP at 110, weak to fire, which is pretty relevant in the meta, which is unfortunate. Again, this also just falls into this category of a lot of investment for maybe not enough damage, but this one could be edging out the other card just slightly because even if this takes damage, it's still going to have full damage potential. And if you get a crazy amount of energy on this, it can do ludicrous damage. Now on to some of the ones that really take the cake for this set. And I've been putting it off, but we're going to talk about some of the megas right now. I might as well talk about Mega Steelix while we're here. So Mega Steelix is an unfortunate mega. It's not the absolute worst mega of all time, but I don't think it's amazing either. It's a stage 1 with 220 HP, which is pretty dang solid. It only does 120 damage for 4 energy. When you look at something like Blaziken doing 120 plus burning for only 2 energy, Altaria, very low energy cost. So this is an extremely high energy cost attack. And unlike something like Venusaur, it doesn't have Ivysaur that just kind of powers it up and gets it really strong. It also feels like this card kind of should be able to tank Charizard, right? But it doesn't, which I think is just a little unfortunate. It kind of does if you have a heavy helm and you hit with Adamantine rolling its attack to get the minus 20 damage, and you get the additional negative damage from, what is that supporter? I always forget. It just, it's not that useful. It came in Spacetime Smackdown. I can't remember his name, but you have to believe me, he exists. I'm not making it up. The point is, it just doesn't do enough, right? I mean, I wish it did. I really wish it did, but it feels like one of the weaker megas in the entire set. However, there is another mega that is giving this a run for its money. It's tough to talk about Mega Blastoise, not only because I love the Blastoise line just personally, but also so much of this is just a slap in the face. So not only is Blastoise the worst of the 3 megas, to be fair, it attacks for 3 energy, so that's not terrible. 230 HP it's good. I mean, it is a stage 2 to be fair, but it is good. The big issue with this is it is asking so much energy to do its additional effect, Triple Bombardment, where it hits 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon for 50 apiece. It's asking for a lot of water energy to make that happen. Not only that, it also has the worst stage 1 of all of the Kanto megas in this set. The Charmeleon and the Ivysaur are great stage 1s for their megas, right? Wartortle is an absolute disgrace compared to the 3. Wartortle, 90 HP, 2 retreat cost. Its ability, Shell Shield. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. Now, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I might not say it again. This might be the last time I say it. So get ready, everybody. This is the last time I'm going to say this. If this ability not only negated attacks, but any damage while it is on the bench, right? Maybe this could be actually at least decent. So the problem with Shell Shield is while this would negate something like Heatmore doing damage to it or Hitmonlee, it doesn't stop a card like Greninja from hitting it with its Water Shuriken and still chipping it on the bench. So its ability is kind of just bad. Maybe if this was just an ability that like lowered damage in general, kind of like Furfro's ability, like I don't know exactly what they could do to this. They could have done a lot to this, to be fair, but the other two help you ramp up and get the energy they need to attack. This helps you sit on the bench and maybe not get chipped by Raikou or something like that. It's just really unfortunate. I don't know what to say. They did my boy Blastoise super dirty in this set, and I do think Blastoise, Steelix, they're there and they're like neck and neck for worst mega. It's probably Blastoise because it's a stage 2, and because unlike the other two Kanto megas, it's stage 1. Wartortle is just bad. It's just bad, and I feel bad, and you should feel bad. No, you shouldn't feel bad. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think they did dirty in the comments. There was one line I left out of this video, and I wonder if you can guess what it is in the chat. Let me know. Thank you all. I love you. I'll see you next time. We did it.